Welcome back. Good morning, good afternoon, good some time of day or other. And welcome back to Hippo Cup 8 quarterfinals week, where we are headed into our first winner's bracket match. Nice continuity today. We got Worldwide Choppers versus Pelmeshki earlier, and now we're getting the teams that beat them in the round of 16. We get Dadunai, who won in an upset against tournament overall top seed John Porler. Everybody's favorite industry plant now has a team named after him. And so should be an exciting matchup. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm going to be joined by somebody this time. It's going to be iFlame. Good morning, tired iFlame. Welcome to the commentary box.
Thank you. We've got a co-commentator, absolutely unheard of, on the morning Hippo Cup matches. But yeah, I think this one should be a pretty good match. Obviously, John Porler are kind of that top seed by rank. They're definitely going to be favored in this one, at the very least, slightly, especially with names like Boshiman, Suntan, Taro and Emasetic, Tony and Caleb as well. They've got a lot of strong players that can cover a wide variety of skill sets. Meanwhile, on Dadunai, I believe this is the Chinese roster. Some big names as well, right? You've got C numbers, Crystal. I believe that's David and Milk Tea as well.
Not Milk Tea. Milk Tea is not in the rank range.
No.
It is Kurumi and David.
David and Kurumi.
Come on, man. You've casted these guys enough. How do you not have that stuff memorized?
Oh, I have to check the lolls every single time.
Damn.
I have no memory.
That's fair.
But David and Kurumi, among a few other good Chinese players. We've got a Nomad 6 banned out by John Porler, Nomad 5 banned out by Dadunai, as they are currently not on the right side, so I'm sure we'll get that sorted out for you.
It's interesting, the last match banned out 3 free mods. Maybe this match is just going to ban out a bunch of nomads instead. We did not see Nomad 6 played before. That one is, I don't know that one's going to be super popular, to be honest, but oh well. Nomad 5 we did see before. That one's the lower AR kind of awkward kick slider jump and like control aim. I feel like that's a common theme of this pool. There's just a lot of control aim and a lot of alt stuff. So we'll see where they go with the second bans here. Yeah, I was really impressed last week by Dadunai. That win over Worldwide Choppers. They looked very impressive. Crystal, especially, of course, known for just hard carrying Chinese teams in like early to like not quite the latest of rounds, but usually will be their top performer and put up some insane scores on anything up through like semifinals. So kind of anticipating good things from him again this week. The depth of John Porler, I guess, is the scary thing here to me. I think their backing players are a little more reliable than some of the members of the Chinese team. But if you can just run like Crystal, Kurumi, David +1 for a lot of maps, I think you're going to be in a reasonable place as Dadunai. So, wow, look, 4 Nomad bans. I guess I was right. It's just 4 Nomad bans.
You certainly were. Yeah, I mean, Worldwide Choppers, definitely, at least at the very least on paper, one of the strongest teams in the tournament, evidenced by the fact that they swept their last match 7-0, and pretty decisive fashion, I would say. And so Dadunai putting up a pretty strong performance. Of course, John Porler is another big test, but if they can beat Worldwide Choppers, they certainly have a chance in this match. I think the kind of extra aim control compared to other pools is actually going to be pretty good for Dadunai. Might help them out a little bit. Players like Crystal and like Kurumi are incredibly good on those alt aim control type picks. And we're going to start off with a Hard Rock 3 pick. It's going to be May.
That's there's 2 distinct like BPM sections of this map, but it's more or less just a Hard Rock stream pick. You have like the first half and the second half with the big tempo change, but It's just streams, man. It's just Hard Rock streams. This is one of the more straightforward maps in the pool, interestingly enough, despite our discussion of the control aim and the alt and all that stuff. This is a pretty basic map compared to a lot of what you'll see in this pool. One of many short picks as well, as I think we kind of anticipate from Hippo Cup pools. Like, this is 2 minutes long. Nothing to be too crazy on the stamina and endurance aspects, but we'll challenge the Hard Rock flow aim, and yeah, we need to make sure the players get on the right sides here.
That would be nice. They never seem to be. As yeah, we're gonna need to switch all the players over. Ref is getting that sorted, but overall a pretty short pool this time around. A lot of maps under the 2-minute mark, especially in the no mod pool, although a lot of those have been banned out. Definitely some fun maps in there too. Looking at that no mod 2, that's a bit of a throwback. Not a map I've seen in a very long time. And some other good ones as well. Of course, some cool maps in the free mod pool. But I think Dadunai are quite strong on the aim as well. And I guess we're not going to get the players switched for this map, maybe for the next one. But in terms of rosters, we've got yeah.
Nope, they are switched. Okay, the client has been doing this thing lately where it's very, very laggy with player slot switches, and I don't know why. It will take until like 2 seconds, and then they'll all just flip at the same time. I don't know what's going on. Turning client things.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We do love Tournament Client, but we've got Kurumi, Crystal, Lido, Fox, Z Numbers up against 315, Aesthetic, Suntan, and Bashiman. The hiddens, I think, are no surprises. Those are generally the players you expect to take them. And Poncho, gonna let the anticipation build up a little bit as we get a momentary pause before we get into the map. And this map picks up very, very quickly. There is a bit of a easier section here, but once we get into the first KI, the map gets incredibly difficult, and that's where we're going to start to see those combos fall apart.
Or not, as the case may be. Maybe we'll just see 8 FCs.
Yeah,
you never know.
Maybe we get an 8-way. Could be.
There we are. Into the streams. And, no breaks. That's going to be Z Numbers, first of all. 4 FCs to 3 for John Porler. A little bit of an advantage there. Some accuracy in their favor as well with the 96 and 94 on Lido, Fox, and Z Numbers, but a lot of map, a lot of combo. They got through the first streams just fine, though. John Porler with a 1 million score lead.
Sadly, not going to be getting the 8-way, but hey, 7-way FC is pretty good because we surely won't see any more misses. I'm sure the second half of this map is just as easy as the first, as maps are often known to be. And here we go into the next tricky section. You have to get through these triples. Anesthetic drops a lot of accuracy, but it's Bashiman who finds the drop. That's gonna even things out a little bit. It's gonna give Dadunai an avenue back into this one as they all manage to hold on. Suntan finds a massive chain miss. That should swing the score lead back over in favor of Dadunai shortly, but I think the accuracy is going to slow things down a little bit. There, the score flips to score V1. It skyrockets so quickly, but it is going to be Kurumi next finding the miss, and that's going to even things out. It is anyone's game. It's going to be 100,000 point difference going into the end of the map. This one looks like it's going to be going over to Dadunai, barring any misses in the end, but honestly, accuracy drops could make the difference. It's only 1 million points, and Dadunai do secure it in the end. That's going to be a sigh of relief as they secure their first point.
That was a scary one there.
Yes, it was.
The miss from that is David, not Kurumi. I will correct. 235 David, 234 Kurumi. The late miss was a little scary, and the accuracy from Z Numbers and from Lido Fox, actually Crystal, not the greatest accuracy either, were a little scary, but I managed to hold on. Bashi got like buzz slidered when on his break, which is really a shame because that was an S rank, but it was 300 combo from the end where the score really starts to build. So unfortunately, could not make the difference. I believe if he hadn't missed there, they win that by a pretty sizable margin.
Oh, easily.
Without that buzz slider, but unfortunately, they'll get you. They'll just get you. But first pick to John Porler to come. So I mean, it's a 1-0. Not anything crazy, but certainly would have been nice to have the breakpoint early on. But it's not going to be the end of the world not to have it. And you get your own pick to come. Plenty of options to choose from here.
Yeah, I mean, out of habit, I was looking at the roster and I was going to say, I was like, hey, this is a pretty good hidden team. Maybe they'll pick something. And it's like, well, everything's hidden. So throw that out the window. I do think, I'm curious to see if they do end up avoiding the tapping. They look pretty good on it. They're certainly competitive, but I think if Dadunai are showing that they are willing to pick the tapping maps, you don't necessarily need to pick it yourself. You can let Dadunai pick those for you, even if you are comfortable on the maps. And so I do expect to see them opt into a different style of map. Could very easily be an aim pick. I think they have a lot of incredibly strong aim players between, Flashy Man and Suntan especially. But they do have some really good tapping players as well. So if they really wanted, they could opt into tapping, but they're going to go for free mod 4, Darling Dance. And this is not quite tapping. This is, I believe, aim control.
It is, yeah. Aim control, like alt. We saw this in Hard Rock back in Corsai's Close last year. Is where I remember this map from. It's got some kind of clip farm alt patterns. It's really high difficulty aim control. Obviously here you can just run double hidden on this if you have players who are comfortable with it. No forced Hard Rock. So if you've got people who are good with that, you can go that route. I like this kind of skill set, I think, for this John Porler team. I think this is a pretty good direction for them to go. That being said, I mean, you're always scared of Crystal on aim control as well, I feel. That guy is so good at so many things. Pretty much anything that isn't just like speed, he will more than likely show up with a good score on. So probably the player for me to watch out for on Dadunai, but I like the John Porler pick. You run like Bashi Suntan. You could probably even run like a, Semi or one tabby? I don't know. You can play a lot of different members on this. Amacetic here as well.
Yeah, Amacetic makes a lot of sense. Like you said, you could put in a lot of people as the fourth player. If I had to guess, I do really like a one tabby on a map like this. I think one tabby tends to be incredibly strong on these kinds of maps, but it is currently Bernkastel in the lobby instead, so may just be Bernkastel going in for John Porler as we wait for them to switch teams so that Dadunai can get their last player into the lobby. So, maybe they could go for a quick player trade.
Semi is an honorary Chinese player for the day. I don't know how that would go. It's going to be Godot Fox to join David XZ and Crystal for Dadunai. I think these are both pretty strong rosters for this map. I think I like the John Porler roster a little bit more, just the depth. As we kind of talked about at the start, your third and fourth players on some maps, I think for them will be really, really useful. But we'll see what Dadunai can show us. With this being, Score v1 and this map being so difficult, obviously solo carry potential is there. So it's a map that if you have one person absolutely pop off and hit some of the more difficult patterns while others break, they can really do a lot for your team. And interestingly, you're going to see Amacetic running the Hard Rock, just the double hiddens for Dadunai and Lodofox and XZ1. So this will be interesting to see how the mods do. Hard Rock seems pretty challenging on this, but Amacetic, great aim control, should be able to handle business there as we get underway here with a little lag on this intro.
Yeah, I mean, with Score v1 more than ever, I think it's so important to get your best players on the no mod so that they can actually play the map without having to worry about the Hard Rock, because like you said, there's so much solo carry potential, so there's pretty much 0 point in having your strongest players taking the Hard Rock, and so you're really going to want to keep an eye on these no mods on either team, as you expect they're going to be the ones putting up some of their combos. I think the hidden players as well can definitely put up some big scores on this. The Hard Rock players are the ones you expect to struggle a little bit more, but currently it is John Porler with a pretty comfortable lead of 2 million on their first pick. But there's plenty of map left to be played, plenty of time for comebacks. But Dadunai are going to need to find some big recovery combos, and they're going to need some misses on John Porler. They do find one on Bashi, but they trade 3 right back, and now it is only David holding onto the combo for Dadunai, and the 3 players holding big combos for John Porler.
Yeah, that section is so challenging heading into this Ki. Really impressive stuff from David so far, but man, Amacetic, that Hard Rock, really, really solid, still holding on, and Semi only 100 combo behind, so we'll watch those guys very intently. It's almost heading to fall. There goes Semi as well. Okay. You have a big combo on David, 700 combo holding into this kind of, you know, another just aim control section, and yeah, there goes pretty much everyone. Those patterns, the like squares and aim control in that are just absolutely brutal, and literally everyone in the lobby broke.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Dadunai. You know, if David had been holding that combo after that section, potentially you can really start to bring that back with a combo lead, but it's pretty much just going to be a complete reset through that aim control section, and now it's all going to come down to this ending. It's only 5 million points, which is odd to say, but with score v1, it's really not that much if Dadunai can build up their combos. Unfortunately, it's currently only David building up the combo. Everybody else has continued to find misses, whereas John Porler, meanwhile, do have some good combos on both of their no-mod players, Bashi and Birkenstell. Even the modded players are starting to recover those combos. And it's pretty much all going to be on David into this ending. We do see a miss from Birkenstell. It is traded back. That trade will favor Dadunai, and it's all eyes on David here through the end. And it's going to need to be misses from Bashi, likely misses from Suntan as well for Dadunai to make a comeback.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a little too much to ask here for Dadunai to be able to bring this one back. It would need to be like pretty quick breaks here from basically all the combos on John Porler. 6 million score lead, and of course it's Semi to break, which is not the right one. If you're Dadunai, that's the wrong player to miss. Suntan and Amacetic both fall, but I don't think that the time is going to allow. I don't know if David and Crystal both FC the rest and Ladofox continues with his combo. There's a world where this gets very interesting. 5 million score, it's going to start to come down. Bashi's kind of holding him off as best he can, but it's just coming down to the wire. Ladofox with a late miss, and despite the best efforts of David and Crystal, it's just going to be too little too late, unfortunately, for Dadunai. And John Porler with a very impressive 1,000 combo there to close the map out from Bashi to take their first pick. Only 4 million, like I said, I mean, that one came back towards the ending. Just Dadunai, not enough time and not enough backing score. Too much combo from John Porler through that through much of that map. 1-1. Well performed by both teams on their first picks.
Yeah, Bashimon, man, clutching up when it counts. Bashimon, you got to catch them all, right? Collect all the OSU tournament players. But look, both these maps have been incredibly close, and usually the first picks are the ones you expect to be blowouts. And Dadunai, I'm impressed with them so far. They're showing that they can keep up with the top teams in this tournament, and I think it might be fair to say if they can put up a good showing in this match, they might be one of the top teams in this tournament themselves, but they've got a lot of match to go before we get there. First, they've got to find their next pick, and we'll see if they want to go back to tapping. Of course, they do have the Nomad 2 open. That would be your kind of stream pick, and there are a few other options for tapping as well. Of course, the DT pool is quite open. I think actually the entire DT pool is available, so plenty of options for Dadunai. And really the question is whether they go back to tapping or I guess I should say stream/feed rather than alt. But or they want to switch it up and go for a different skill set entirely. Tech would be, I think, pretty competitive. I'm not sure which team I would favor on, tech picks.
I think Tech is like a super balanced skill set here. I think a lot of skill sets are pretty balanced here, to be honest, considering how the first two maps went. But yeah, I might think Nomad 2 after the Hard Rock 3 win for Dadunai, but they're gonna go DT1 instead. So it is gonna be one of those DT picks, which there are 6 of, so plenty of options in that pool of thing like DT. This is an interesting one, right? Because you've got like kind of the awkward spaced slider kick slider patterns as well as a decent amount of burst tapping. So it's two kind of distinctly different skill sets that this map requires out of you. 240 BPM air, 10.2, so decently comfortable kind of map settings. But man, those little spaced like double, triple kick slider patterns that you see throughout this map. I saw a bunch of people getting tripped up on those in the last match.
Yeah, it feels like there's a lot of places on this map that are very easy to find misses on. There aren't too many kind of free combo sections to really build up that combo, so definitely have to be aware and paying attention throughout the whole map. Definitely expect to see Anesthetic back in for this one. I think for John Porler, we're likely to see Bashi and Suntan in for just about every map. I think it's going to be pretty similar for Crystal and David on the side of Dadunai, likely to be perma-lobbied.
Yeah, I think Dadunai, you know, it's a roster like most Chinese teams where you just are always, you're going to see the same people for a vast majority of picks, and that's fine because they're so good at so many things. As long as they don't get like tired out or, you know, have any trouble with losing focus over the course of a long match, you know, best of 13. It's the only thing that I would maybe be concerned about, but otherwise, those guys will be chilling. I am a little interested to see how DT goes. Being that the Hard Rock pick was pretty close, and it was only a million score. And with, what, 1, 2, arguably 4, at least 3 of the DT maps being pretty tapping focus between DT 1, 2, 4, and then kind of DT 3, though that one's a lot more about the finger control. If you can win, like, the first pick that you go into of those handily, you open up several other maps for your team. So this one could be key in kind of their pick strategy going forward in this match.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also very possible we just get another close map and you don't really get any super clear pick direction. And that makes things a lot more harder for the teams in terms of picks and a lot more interesting for us because they could pick pretty much anything at that point. It makes you slightly more hesitant to pick into more tapping if every single tapping map has been, you know, a 1,000,000-point difference. So this one could dictate a lot in terms of pick strategy, but back into the map, we've already got a couple early misses from John Porler. I believe we have a very early miss from Lado as well, but Dadunai looking strong to start this one off. Accuracy is looking incredibly good. We do see a miss from David, but they're still holding 2 FCs. Lado is on a pretty nice recovery as well, so they should be able to hold on to this lead for the time being, as 315 and Anesthetic have both found misses themselves. Tony, the last one holding for John Porter, already falling quite far behind. We do see 2 misses out of Dadunai, but neither of them are the full combos, so the wrong players missing, unfortunately, for John Porler, as they find yet another couple of misses for themselves. Suntan, nice recovery, back up to 400, is going to keep things close, but that's a big miss from Tony, not one you could afford to lose, and Dadunai, these FCs are going to start to really pull away.
Yeah, I think, you know, Tony missing was kind of just going to be the dam breaking in terms of this lead going to Dadunai with a double FC still intact. The breaks from him and Suntan really kind of put this one out of reach for John Porler. This is a really impressive showing from Dadunai. We'll see if Z Numbers and Crystal can get into the ending, and they do. Very, very solid stuff there. A double full combo from Z Numbers and Crystal, and you know, S rank from Widofox obviously quite a ways behind on score, as well as David, but double FC, man, those, is that a 2v4? I think that's a 2v4. Very, very impressive performance. And you know, we said, like, this map, if it's contested, it makes it interesting. If it's one-sided, then, like it was, Dadunai, I mean, I think now you just have some picks in mind, like, instantly, right? You're thinking, okay, we can go DT2, we can go DT4, we can go free mod 3, we can even go no mod 2. Like, you're just, I think now you're just going to say, let's pick all the tapping we can after the way that map went.
Yep, and I think they're going to be able to keep picking to that skill set until it stops working, right? They might not be comfortable on every single one of those maps, but it's a large enough pool that they're going to be pretty set for at the very least their next few picks. I'd say 2 to 3 minimum, and in a map where we've seen so many close maps, or in a match where we've seen so many close maps, that it can be a big advantage. Whereas I think John Porler, yes, they won their pick, but it wasn't super decisive. It was an incredibly close one, so they still don't have a clear direction for themselves. I'm sure they have a couple maps in mind, and there are definitely some skill sets that we haven't really seen tested, but they could just, you know, go back to what's working, go back to the previous skill sets they've played. It was, I believe, the Hard Rock. What was the last one?
What, the Jump Porler was the free mod 4, the Dadunai was the Hard Rock 3, yeah.
4, yes.
Free mod 2. So they are going to go ahead and stay in the free mod pool. I kind of expect John Porler to pick a lot of non-standard stuff, which fortunately, given this pool, there are plenty of choices in that, and this is kind of just another one of the various and sundry alt picks throughout this pool. This one's CS5 AR8, so you are going to have that anti-mod. You're going to make, you know, some players go into reading or maybe into some precision hard rock, depending on their mod choice. We like our awkward alt aim control in this pool, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I think John Porler certainly do. That seems to be the skill set they are opting into for the most. I am very curious to see the mods here on this free mod 2, because I mean, you look at the players on John Porler. You have Bashi Man, who's obviously an incredibly good precision player, but I actually think this time around it would be really nice to be able to put Bashi on a no mod and let Bashi try and build up the combo. Ultimately, it really does depend how comfortable Bashi feels on the air rate. But John Porler has some very strong AR8 players. Suntan, of course, very strong. Looks like we're going to have Brinkastel in as well. I'm not sure who the last one is. Looks like it is going to be 315. Whereas Dadunai are kind of just running this core of Crystal, David, Ledo, and Z numbers. Not feeling the need to really switch things up. And I do expect on this roster to see Crystal on the no mod once again.
Yeah, I think, as you said, you know, just putting the top players in a position to succeed on whatever their most comfortable mod is a really great way of approaching these kind of difficult free mod picks. 315 saying, holy HR GOAT. So I wonder if we're seeing like over hard rock, over mod for Dadunai or something as we load in here. We'll find out. Nope, it's just, well, technically, I guess, it's an HDHR on Ludofox, hard rock only on Crystal. And that is one thing that is kind of different about the a lot of these Chinese rosters is Crystal is so solid with precision that you can put him in as a hard rock player on a map like this and, you know, not suffer too much. Meanwhile, just 2 hiddens on Suntan and Semi, and as kind of expected, right, Bashi on the no mod will almost guarantee a really solid score for John Porler. And 315 also going to be on the no mod. We'll see how things go for him. No breaks in the early going, so people comfortable enough with the intro. A lot of combo to build up, though not the longest of maps. This one just about 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's really fascinating that teams are able to kind of opt into the playstyle they want. Dadunai are very much playing a precision map on their end, whereas John Porler, on the other hand, they get themselves a rating map to enjoy, as 315 is going to find the first miss. It is going to be 7 FCs still holding strong. We do see some accuracy dropping, but we're already to the halfway point. The Dadunai have about a 400,000 point lead. It's not going to be much at all, but they are looking good. The key is, can they hold on to their combos into the second half? It is a fair bit harder than what we've seen so far from this map, and you're going to want to keep an eye on those modded players, especially who you expect to have a tougher time on this map, but so far, no misses. It's that early miss from 315. There's one from Crystal, but it's a massive trade. Suntan, Birkenstock trading it right back, and Dadunai might be getting a break point here if Z-Numbers, Ledo, and David can hold on.
Yeah, they don't even need to hold on all that much longer. They're already up by a couple million score. And this is a little bit of the kind of freest combo you're going to find in the back half of this map. I believe one more tricky section near-ish the ending is right here, this aim control stream. Very, very tricky to hold through all of this. You're going to see accuracy drops all over the place, but the combos stay alive for everyone in the lobby. Ludofox with a big chain miss, but the 5 million score lead is there for Dadunai. Late miss from Z numbers, but that's all the way right at the very ending. That's not going to have any effect, and that's going to be Dadunai taking the early break point. It is a big score from 3 members of that team. David with the FC to match Bashi, and Z Numbers and Ludofox not too far behind. Really, really solid stuff from that whole team. Once more coming into this match, looking to surprise some people, and in the early stages of this match, maybe doing exactly that.
Yeah, and I think you definitely see the idea behind the pick from John Porler, right? You look at the accuracies from Dadunai. It's a 92% from Ludofox. It's an 88% from Z Numbers. Clearly not the most comfortable on this map. And so John Porler feel good going into it, but it is score v1. You can just combo game the whole thing, and it'll get you pretty far. As Dadunai are going to be very happy to get that one. We'll see now if they manage to consolidate, but this just kind of goes back to what we talked about in terms of pick strategy. They could look for the DT2, they could look for the DT4 as well. They certainly have quite a number of options open, and I think they can feel pretty good about themselves now having won 2 maps in a row.
Yeah, and this is what is your absolute closest thing to a guaranteed win remaining in the pool for your third pick here, because you really want to consolidate this breakpoint, right? You'd get a 4-1 lead, which feels like a lot more than it is. The visual of 4-1, is a lot larger than the fact that it's only 1 breakpoint. But that confidence that you can gain from consolidating at this stage of the match would be really, really pivotal, I think, for them. Like we said, they've got the DT2 for the tapping, they've got the DT4 for the tapping, no mod 2, free mod 3 also both tapping focused if they would rather go one of those routes. It does feel like, their first 2 picks are both tapping, so you gotta expect them to continue that direction and force John Porler to answer, and it's gonna be the DT5, which is not one of the maps that I most anticipated, because this is an alt DT pick. This is not a speed or stamina. This is an alt map at a high BPM, right? So a little bit of a twist here coming in from Dadunai. They are sticking with the DT map, but not necessarily one of the ones that I at least expected.
Yep, I do still like the pick. I feel like this is a map that you expect to be incredibly good for Crystal. Is so good on these DT alt picks, and really just the Dadunai roster as a whole. Z numbers is quite solid on the alt, and then you've of course got, I expect it's going to be David as well, who again quite good on the alt. So they've got some incredibly strong alt players. That pick makes sense to me, but the thing that's interesting about this match is it doesn't feel like there's any guaranteed points, right? John Porler certainly have the team to put up some strong alt players as well. I think you expect a player like Suntan to look pretty strong on this one. And so this would be a really nice point for Dadunai to go up by 3, whereas John Porler would really love to get the breakpoint back right away.
And the risk level feels kind of high on this one to me, but like you said, it feels kind of high on a lot of things. Match is just going to be scary, I think. Everything, like you said, I just got to agree. Everything just feels like contested. You've got some scary players in this lobby for this type of map, man. Between, go back to, Tony maybe comes in for this, Amacetic, Taro, everyone. Crystal Z numbers, David, yeah, I don't know. I'm just that's the great thing about this type of match is when the more unpredictable the match is, it's very hard to make a solid, perfect analysis on a lot of things, but it makes it way more exciting. And I think that's kind of what we're getting here so far. So hopefully that just holds and continues throughout.
It absolutely does. And I mean, in this map, we've got 8 incredibly good players in the lobby. Well, 7 right now, but we do expect to see an 8th. And any one of them could pop up. And that's what makes it so exciting, right? Obviously, you have your star players that you expect to put up good scores. You look at Crystal, you look at Suntan, but they don't always need to be the big carries, right? The other players on both teams are incredibly good as well and could put up the big carry combo themselves. So here we go into the DT5. Looks like Tony will be the last player for John Porler. That makes a lot of sense. Tony is so good at these DT picks. And 3-5 Taro making an appearance for the first time, I believe, this match. And so this map gets into it pretty quickly. We do some easier patterns to start out, but the patterns very quickly get pretty tricky with the spacing, with the aim control. We do see early misses on both sides. Just going to keep things pretty even as we make our way into the map.
Yeah, that intro is a little bit telling if you're uncomfortable with kind of the patterning there. You're going to struggle in things like the key eyes of the map, and we did get the early break, Z numbers, Suntan, and then Tony to follow. So 3 FCs to 2, the advantage for Dadunai into the first key eye section. Some spacing changes, some tricky little spaced flowy alt patterns. It's going to be Taro to get caught out next. 3-1-5 falls as well. Crystal does trade with him, though, on that square. But it is a double FC on David and Ladofox, and no FCs on John Porler. Suntan and Tony doing what they can, but they're going to be starting to fall behind pretty far here. Only a third of the way through, but that score lead already going to be nearing 4 million.
Yeah, 4 million and growing. John Porler are yet again on the back foot. There's a miss from Z numbers. That's going to help things out a little bit, but we really need to see misses out of Ledo or David. Those are the big combos, and I mean, yes, John Porler has one combo that's close, but outside of Suntan, it feels like everything's falling apart a little bit, and we're only halfway through the map, and it's 7 million points. That is quite a bit, unless we see, you know, at the very least, Suntan has the combo to capitalize if we see a double miss from David and Ledo, but a double miss is yet to come. There's 3, but notably David holds, so Dadunai are going to hold on to this advantage, and John Porler are just so far behind now.
They are a ways behind, but it's a lot of combos starting to build up. They've still got a quarter of the map to go. I will note, all 4 members of John Porler have some amount of combo here, especially Suntan and Taro. It's David just kind of trying to hold them all off by himself. And yeah, it's 7 million, but if those members of John Porler continue to go, this could get a little closer by the end. It's a quite note-dense map, of course, with it being alt. So that score gap's going to start to come down. This could get a little scary here for Dadunai. 3-5 with a big break. Still through combos. Tony goes down next, and that might be the saving grace for Dadunai into this ending.
Yeah, I mean, Taro is there with support, but now you're fending off 3 supporting combos, and they just needed to hold on through the ending. It feels like unless we see an ending miss from David, they are going to be out of it, and Dadunai doing a really good job to capitalize on that break point. In the end, it is going to be 6 million in their favor, and they're off to a good start in this match, looking to make another upset potentially here. Thankfully for John Porler, this is a best of 13, so they're still only down by 1 break point, and they do have a fair bit of time to find that break point later on. But obviously, it does mean you have to win every single one of your own picks, and you have to find a break point at some point, so pressure is on for John Porler.
And can we just talk about that score from David real quick, by the way? The HDDT FC 200 to 150. That would be good for somewhere in the vicinity of rank 7 on the map.
Oh my God.
I wish Osu didn't have an HP system, so that we didn't have to use no fail, so that could just be on the leaderboard where it's supposed to be. Technically speaking, I mean, a lot of the time we don't need no fail anyway, but you know, don't want to take any chances. But yeah, that is a crazy score to set live in match. Very, very impressive from him. And I'm gonna go back to the phrase you used during that map, which was John Porler, you know, kind of on the back foot. They have been on the back foot several times throughout this match already, you know, losing 4 out of the first 5 maps here. Feels like maybe the comfort level isn't quite where it needs to be for this team. You know, obviously, part of that could be you're relying pretty heavily on several American players, including at least 1 or 2 on the West Coast, which it's an early morning match for some of these guys, so maybe that playing a role a little bit. Obviously, tons of experience on those members, but still, otherwise, just maybe performing not quite at the level they need to. So we will be interested to see, I think, whether they can find some maps that they're super comfortable with and really start to find scores that will reach what the expectations of this team are. And they're going to be picking DT4. I did not anticipate this.
I can't say I did either, but this is a Course K map, so that's a pretty good idea of what to expect. Plenty of tapping on this one, 292.5 BPM, and this one's only 57 seconds. So they're going to look to get ahead early, and they're going to look to stay there. As I think for John Porler, they need to make this pick count. If you give up a second breakpoint, it is just completely disastrous for this match, and might be a one-way ticket to the losers bracket. But if they can win this point, they're still very much in this match, and this is an interesting pick. I don't dislike it, but as with many picks in the pool, feels very, very coin flip.
Yeah, to me, it's just interesting picking a high BPM DT into a team that has won 2 kind of 3 tapping maps against you already. You know, they're obviously lower BPM maps than this one is, but this is super bursty at a very high BPM. It seems, again, high risk to pick this skill set. With the way they looked on the Fremod 4, I'm surprised to not see John Porler going to maybe something like... Okay, actually, the options are limited because of the bans. Maybe something like a Nomad 4 or Nomad 7 even. Actually, Nomad 7, they should pick... I feel like they should pick Nomad 7. That really pattern aim control, I think would be good for them. So we'll see if they go that direction. Or even Hard Rock 2 could be an option at some point. I'm a little surprised to see them going this way instead, but they have some really good high BPM players, right? 315 and Tony, especially super good at those really fast bursts. So I can see the vision here. Based on the way the match is going, it may seem a little confusing, but I get where they're coming from with this. And if this goes well for them, you know, it gets them right back into it, you know, only being 1 breakpoint down.
Yeah, we'll see if the pick pays off for them. As I could see this one going either way, and in 50 seconds time, we will have our answer.
Yeah, a very short one. It's David, Ladua, Fox, Crystal, Z numbers, I'm Aesthetic, Suntan, 3 and 5, and Tony. See what the comfort level looks like on these really fast bursts, 292 BPM. First half, hope to establish some combo. Second half, you just hold on for dear life. And it's early breaks from multiple members. I'm Aesthetic, Tony, 3 and 5 all missing in the early stages. Crystal as well. But again, just do your best and then try to hold on, because that back half of this is ridiculous. Suntan falls on the aim and Z numbers trades it. This is going crazy here, man. People just can't hold the combo where they need to for John Porler. Oh. Okay.
That's 2 big misses out of Dadunai, and it is actually pretty much a full reset outside of Z numbers. Aesthetic has managed to hold on to the combo, and really the only one in the lobby to do so. So we have a third of the map to go, and John Porler are very quickly bringing this one back. Aesthetic desperately needs to hold through the ending. We do see a miss out of Lado. It is a double miss from John Porler, but the key combo in Aesthetic holds no longer, as now it's all on 315, trying to fend off Crystal and Lado. There goes Crystal, and it looks like 315 should be able to close this one out. Does find a big miss. This one could go either way, but John Porler do hold on. Oh, there's a little bit of map to go, but I think they should have it. Okay, that's a crazy burst. They do hold on, and they're going to get a second point on the board. And the pick pays off in the end.
They got away with one there again. Like,
yes, they did.
Just barely escaped that with Aesthetic breaking where he did. They were very fortunate that 3 and 5 had some backing combo to maintain that advantage, and that Dadunai couldn't really do anything with the last couple sections of the map. Man, we said it was risky, and it doesn't appear that we were wrong, considering 200K was the margin of victory. But you know, the win's the win, and they'll absolutely take it. That's just the two-man squad there, 3 and 5 and Aesthetic. I mean, they needed all the backing score they got out of Tony and Suntan, but those were the key members on that, and we'll see if they can continue doing stuff like that going forward, because they will need to find a break point somewhere. But next pick to Dadunai, still the break point in hand. And you know, if you want to stay with the stuff you've been picking, obviously you've still got DT 2, 3, and 6 in that mod pool. I don't know if this is maybe the time where you start to switch it up, or whether you kind of continue to stay in the same skill set.
Yeah, I mean, with the tapping maps continuing to be incredibly close between these two teams, every one of those feels like a coin flip at best at this point, and so I wouldn't mind seeing them switch it up. Look for something aside from the DT. Of course, a lot of those no mods are banned out, but the entire Hard Rock pool is still open. There are a couple free mods I could see. Free mod 3. I mean, it is still tapping, but would be interesting for them, and they are going to go for the DT3. So they are going to keep with some version of tapping.
And this one is, well, it's a Taiko, right? It's an Oni diff. It is finger control just incarnate, which is, you know, maybe more in their favor than the high BPM raw speed like that DT4 was. But this is just, you know, slightly awkward linear aim, grid snap, double triple city. Kind of an uncomfortable map compared to some of the others for a different sort of reason. So I like, you know, obviously the DT5 went super well for them with the finger control elements of that. The DT1 went well for them, which has some finger control elements. So just keep doing what you're doing is the name of the game here for Dadunai.
Yep, gotta get some momentum back now. as I have to imagine we're just going to be seeing the same roster for them, even though they are often enough to, I imagine, practice the maps in between each pick. John Porler, curious what roster they won. I wouldn't be surprised to see a similar one. Of course, you're almost certainly going to be seeing Suntan, and I think Anesthetic would make a lot of sense on this one as well. With the last player, I could see them just run it back and have Tony in as the fourth, but it is not entirely clear. They have some options. You know, as you could put, okay, looks like they're going to have Taro in. I think that is completely fine as well.
Yeah, as we've kind of said, you know, this is a team that has a lot of flexibility with their roster, with the depth that they have, especially as compared to Dadunai, who, again, we just see basically the same roster. You know, you've got Tony that can come in and out for this stuff. You've got, if he were here, you'd have Cal who would come in and out for this stuff. Not sure if he's actually here. I don't think we've seen him yet. Anesthetic, Suntan, Taro, like, you've got hella options, so good in that regard, but they're going to need to perform. That'll be the task set here. As once more, it's David, Z-Numbers, Ledo, Fox, and Crystal. And in we go. Just, you know, grid snap, linear aim, and a lot of kind of awkward finger control. You've got doubles, you've got triples, you've got quints just throughout, and some longer bursts as well. So really going to challenge that finger control, and then we'll see how the players handle it.
Yep, and this is an extra long map. It's twice as long as the last map we played, believe it or not.
2 whole minutes?
2 whole minutes.
Oh my.
It's crazy. So every miss is going to count, suffice it to say. Ledo has found the early miss, as has David. There is one shaded back on John Porler, but John Porler are going to be enjoying the lead for now, although it's going to be close enough that the score is just going to continue to flip back and forth. You know, any miss is going to swing the score heavily. There's a big one from Suntan. We're halfway through the map now, so any miss at this point is devastating. David does trade it back, but that trade will favor Dadunai, as David had missed earlier. Suntan followed up with another miss, but it's currently 2 FCs to 2, one supporting combo on each side, and this one's still anyone's game with a third of the map to go.
Yeah, this is scary, man. This is just absolutely dead even. You've got Z-Numbers and Crystal in the 2v2 against Anesthetic and Taro. Tony goes down. That's going to help things for Dadunai with as close as the score was. There was Taro as well. And Anesthetic gets a full collapse from John Porler. The full reset comes in, only David to trade any of those misses, and now Dadunai just have a clear path to victory on this map with Z-Numbers, Crystal still holding the FCs, and Ledofox on that big backing combo. That was misery for John Porler in that section of the map, unfortunately, but look at what Dadunai is doing here. Z-Numbers and Crystal coming into the ending with the double FC intact, making it through all of the most challenging patterns of the map, and there you have it. Dadunai dropped the double FC here on the DT3. Very, very impressive from both Z-Numbers and Crystal, and they're going to take the point. Man, what a show.
Absolutely incredible, and it's not the first time, right? This is the second or third time we've seen these two players double FC in this match. They're certainly in the right headspace for this match, playing incredibly well. And it is nice to see multiple players for Dadunai stepping up. David has also had some incredibly good scores, and you know, it looked great for John Porter for the first 3 quarters of the map, and then it all fell apart in an instant. Now, with that said, they do have the next pick, and they are still only down 1 breakpoint, but they are quickly running out of time to get that breakpoint back. There are only 2 more picks for Dadunai, so we do have 2 more chances for a breakpoint, and so far they haven't been able to do so. On top of that, of course, that is assuming you win all your own picks, which, as we've seen in this match, is far from a guarantee. You know, not sure what they want to pick. I would be surprised to see them go back into those DT tapping maps after the DT3 looked pretty dominant for Dadunai. And so maybe we finally see them switch it up. I'm curious if they do just want to go back to one of the free mods. But, you know, the free mod 3 is definitely more kind of pure speed as opposed to this DT3, which is a little bit more finger control heavy, right? So maybe that free mod 3 would be solid for them.
I could... Oh, okay, I was going to say I could see a world where they pick either free mod 3 or no mod 2 here. And then there we go. We just get the free mod 3. So we are going to go break core Very traditional. I think everybody is probably familiar with this pick. It's been a known map for a very, very long time. This one takes us back to 2012. The Grummed, one of the Breakcore mappers of all time. And this is definitely one of the Breakcore maps of all time. 250 BPM, tons of bursts, and it's going to be pretty stamina draining. A lot of those buzz sliders as well that can really catch you out. And also worth noting, this is only AR9. 250 BPM AR9 does present a little bit of a reading challenge, so gotta keep that in mind as well. If anybody going hidden, no mod, it's not like, you know, these players are good enough that it shouldn't be too bad, but it is an element that you can't ignore about the map.
Yeah, we'll see if that trips anybody up. This one, despite being short, it can be definitely on the more stamina-intensive side as well because of how dense the bursts in this map are. Of course, mixed in with the buzz sliders, the triples, makes it pretty taxing on the fingers if you're not fairly comfortable on the 250 BPM. And so I think for the players that play this BPM regularly, shouldn't be too much of an issue in terms of stamina. But if you are not very comfortable on 250 BPM, especially towards the end of the map, we could see some pretty big drops, some chain misses, and I think accuracy, well, I was going to say accuracy could be a factor in this one, but it is score v1, so it's not going to matter much at all.
Yeah, I think if you're comfortable enough with 250 BPM, like, you should be alright, but we'll see. It's going to be, once more, just the same roster for Dadunai, right? You've got David Z Numbers, Ladofax Crystal, so you've got a roster that's as warm as it's possible to be, and has been showing to be quite comfortable with a lot of these picks. Suntantaro, Amacetic, and Tony for John Porler. And let's see what we get for mods. It's going to be an overmod. Yeah, I kind of anticipated that. Hard Rock removes that, you know, slight reading challenge that this map might have to offer. So you've got 3 Hard Rocks on Dadunai, one of them with Hidden on Ladofax plus David and Crystal. Meanwhile, double Hard Rock on Taro and Amacetic with Hidden on Suntan, but Hidden Pref player. Tony on Nomad. Match with Z Numbers, so let's see how this goes. I'm very interested in how this map plays out. It's a very early break for Tony, and there will probably be a lot of Bancho misses, including that one, in fact, because of how many Buzz Sliders are in this one. So it's almost impossible to tell what's going to be a real break. So I think we're going to see a lot of those.
Yeah, because of how dense these bursts are, the Hard Rock doesn't actually add too much difficulty, and in fact makes the map more comfortable for some players, as you mentioned, due to that AR9. And so far, all the players looking strong. I think somewhat to be expected, at least in the early stages of the map. I think it's going to be more into the second half when the map picks up. The stamina starts to become an issue that we start to see big misses, and those are 2-1
Double
real
Bancho,
miss
double
for
Bancho.
Dadunai, and a
Triple
1
Bancho.
miss for John Parler. So, oh, it is triple Bancho.
Yeah,
so
it's just all
one miss
Bancho.
for Dadunai.
Yeah, as I said, like, none of those were actual misses except for Ladofax. He missed on aim, so he actually missed. But everything else has been Bancho misses.
You gotta give it an extra 4 seconds before calling out any misses, because you never know which ones are real. Because especially into the second half, we could see some real misses on those Buzz Sliders. It is entirely possible, and we'll see how many of those are bait. I think those are both Bancho, so into the second half, this is going to be the real test. We'll see a few combos drop off. That's a big miss from Tony, and that one certainly real, and that's going to put Dadunai back in the driver's seat, as I imagine those are all Bancho.
No, I think those appear to
No,
be
no,
actual
they're real,
misses.
okay.
Yeah, these slider streams in this are absolutely brutal in this last third to quarter of the map. So they're very, very tricky. So you've got the double FC on Taro and Amacetic. Z Numbers matching one of them, and Ladofax a little bit behind. And man, this is just brutal to try to spectate. I am sorry. Did they miss? Has everybody missed except for Ladofax? Is that what's happening here? What's happening here?
I mean, it seems like Z Numbers was still going up until that last break, which was the real one, and Lado is actually just holding an 800 combo, but somehow it is only 1 million point difference. I don't know if this is a real combo because no one is even close on John Porter, so it should be much more decisive, but it seems like Dadunai are winning the map by about 3 million.
Ladofax is a god or what? How did he just hold like over
crazy.
1k combo in the last portion of that map? Waiting for it to load in the MP link just to make absolutely sure, but it does appear. There we are. Yeah, it's Dadunai by just shy of 3 million, and Man, I mean, look at these scores, dude. Like, Ladofox and Z numbers just went absolutely bonkers. Taro and Amasetic both put up S ranks also, but the backing score unfortunately, from Tony is really the big question mark there. He is normally a better tapping player than this, so a little surprising to see him kind of underperforming this pick to that degree. And, well, just like that, it's 6-2 in match points, iFlame.
Yes, it is. And John Porler definitely in a tough spot now. They've now given up the second break point. That is one they could not afford. And Dadunai well on their way to 2 upsets in a row over 2 of, I think, going into this tournament, what would have been considered easily the top teams. So Dadunai really proving themselves here, but also giving a few teams in the losers bracket a pretty tough time. It is a shame to be one of those teams in the losers bracket to run into either Worldwide Choppers or John Porler this early on.
Yeah, we were talking about that in the previous match, or well, I guess, with Dadunai beating Worldwide Choppers. Pelmeshki had to start off against John Porler, the number 1 seed, and then immediately in losers bracket got Worldwide Choppers, the number 4 seed. Like, that is just a brutal state of affairs, man. That is so unfortunate. And I think after this weekend, with the first 4 teams eliminated, because I do think there's a little bit of a gap between like the best, the top like 8 to 12 and then the bottom few teams. But after this, like, it's going to be super close, super competitive, whether you're in the winners or the losers. So it's going to get crazy close. But yeah, a couple of these teams just getting really unfortunate sorts of draws. But it's going to be Nomad 1 here as the Dadunai pick. So they're finally deciding to go away from tapping and into the Nomad pool. Our first Nomad pick of this match, and it could be our only Nomad pick of this match.
Very well could be. Dadunai looking to close this one out here. And this is Commodore Telepathy. This is going to be more of your consistency pick. This one, probably one of the more standard maps in the pool. And this one feels like a risky pick as well, but that has been the case all match, and Dadunai are up 6-2. So the risky picks clearly working out for them very well so far.
Yeah, and with this one being, an Xarius map, maybe a little less traditional than you would otherwise expect it to be. I'm honestly of a mixed opinion on this map, because the rhythm choices a lot of the time are very strange. A lot of what he follows in mapping this are like, he switches up the rhythm and like what he's mapping to in ways that make it kind of hard to follow along with, and maybe that's just intentional, I'm not sure, but it is a little more awkward than you might anticipate it to be because of that. And of course, a lot of the like awkward kick slider jumps and longer sliders as well, so less comfortable than you'd anticipate a Nomad 1 being, that's for sure. But this is Hippo Cup, so I think that's what you kind of sign up for.
It certainly is. You certainly don't sign up for standard pooling. You sign up for a good time. And that's what the players will have on this map. So we get into potentially the last map of this match, of course. John Porler looking to extend this one for another few maps. Ashi, Suntan, Amasetic, and Taro. We'll see if they can pull it off, or if this will spell the end of their run in the winners bracket, as I think it should be a pretty tame start to the map before we get into the first Ki. And okay, I take it back. That's a pretty tricky stream.
Somebody didn't look at the map pool.
You know it.
Yeah, there are so many things in this map like that where it's just like, this is weird. I didn't anticipate this being here. The space stream there, kind of some of these patterns, the accelerating streams, like you just saw Suntan fall, and then these big kick slider jumps. Like normally this would just be, like an aim section, but instead you've got these kick slider jumps and these big sliders, and that really, whatever that pattern is that they just played, just very uncomfortable, very unusual stuff, but a lot of combo here for Dadunai. It's double FC on David and Z numbers. Crystal a bit behind, but he's matching Amasetic. And Taro on the lone FC for John Porler. Got to do whatever he can to try to keep them in touch on this pick.
Yeah, it's yet again Dadunai building up that early advantage, holding strong through that stream section so far. It does only get trickier, though. Boschman drops a ton of accuracy, but does hold on. There's a big miss from David, so it is 1 FC to go. But Crystal is on a good supporting combo, which means it is going to be tricky for John Porler to make the comeback. They're slowly going to bring this back, assuming they don't find any more misses, but don't nearly have the combo advantage to bring it back as fast as they'd like. And it's all going to come down to these big combos on either side. Taro, Anesthetic, Z Numbers, and Crystal. Keep an eye on those 4 players because they are going to be the difference makers this time around. Even the combos on Suntan and Lido are going to start to matter as we get farther and farther into the second half, but all 8 players holding strong through that section, and John Porler very much still in this one.
Bancho, don't do this to us. Come on, man. Bancho, don't do this to us, man. Please tell me somebody didn't just DC or something. Oh my god. Come on. This is like, okay. So like this is the best we've seen these teams play with the amount of combo that's on the board right now. Do not let us down. This is very close, and it is a very marginal advantage to John Porler, I think, here, right? About maybe 300-400 combo. So that score lead will come down slowly but surely, but the last Ki is what you would anticipate out of the last Ki in a map like what we've seen so far, right? It is very, very difficult, and that's going to be the difference maker of this map and possibly this entire match, but the score lead looking to go over to John Porler here late in. It's all coming down to the last Ki, though, quarter of the map to go, and there's so much combo on the board. It is terrifying. The nerves are at an all-time high, and there goes Taro, but Anesthetic and David all traded out. Oh my goodness.
A big set of misses. Every other player yet to find a miss, and so Dadunai are going to build up this score lead, and John Porler are quickly running out of time. There's a miss from Lido. That's going to allow John Porler to bring this one back. Z Numbers as well. It's only Crystal trying to fend off these massive combos from John Porler, but will it be enough? It is going to be incredibly close. So score lead is going back over. That is another miss from Z Numbers, but Bashi and Suntan need to hold to keep themselves alive. Even then, it is going to be insanely close. I'm not sure if they'll have enough time. I think the score should go back over at the very last second if they can hold. They're
going to have it into the very ending. Wait from Anesthetic! Yeah! My god, that's 300k!
That is about as close as it gets in the score v1 as John Porler. They get their breakpoint right back, and they keep their winner's bracket chances alive.
Oh my god, dude. 317,000 points on a map where the teams both scored 65 million. That is why we score v1. Goodness. I mean, just any little bit of combo anywhere. Got to feel for Crystal a little bit there, putting up the 23 mil score. Top score in the lobby by 4 million, alongside Z Numbers, who top scored the next best by 17 million, but unfortunately, just the better backing scores that time. John Porler, Suntan, and Anesthetic versus Lidofox and David. Man. Well, now things get interesting, because that's one of those 2 breakpoints back, so John Porler can win this pick of their own. They're inching their way back into the match here. It's a scary situation. It's frightening times. So we will see. We will see what happens here. It's going to be the next pick to John Porler. They did go DT4 into Free Mod 3, which makes me think that a Nomad 2 could be coming next. They seem to be liking some of these tapping picks, but down match point, it's a high risk against a team that has also looked pretty good on the tapping stuff. We wait. Not a whole ton of other options left in the pool. You got Nomads 2, 4, and 7. I've been saying since the start that Nomad 7 felt like it might be a good pick. So that could be on the table for them. Hard Rocks 1, 2, and 4 are still here. I could see a Hard Rock 4 pick here against a strong precision team, but you're a strong precision team yourself as John Porler. But they're just going to go back into the free mod pool. And so this is going to be John Porler themselves picking all 4 of the free mods in this map pool. As I regret to inform you that iFlame has unplugged his computer, so hopefully we'll be back in a minute or two. But we'll be without his input for a moment's time here. We're gonna go free mod once. We're gonna go Jackknife. And to me, this is kind of the spiritual successor of last week's teleportation, That one, 175 BPM, CS5 AR8, DNB consistency, whereas this one is 180 BPM, CS4 AR 9.7. But it is just another one of those lengthy, very repetitive maps that just does the same thing over and over and over and over and dares you to be as consistent as possible, because you are going to need to be, since it is just a whole lot of combo. I forget offhand exactly how much max combo this is, but it's a whole freaking lot. The free mods, only one of the three has worked out so far for John Porler, right? Picked free mod 4 and won it as their first pick. Lost the breakpoint on free mod 2, and then 2 points later, just a couple maps ago, lost the third one on free mod 3. So they've given up 2 breakpoints in this free mod pool so far in this match. Obviously, the 4 free mods are quite different stylistically, so you can't ascribe a whole lot necessarily to that, but worth noting that Dadunai is seeming like a very good free mod team. But John Porler, kind of backed into the corner here. Match point down still. There's 3 more match points for Dadunai, 1 on their own pick, 2 on John Porler picks. So we'll see if they can get this one closer, or if Dadunai can maybe close this out with a break point. I really did anticipate this match to be quite close. Do think that John Porler definitely have what it takes to win, another map or 2, if not to go all the way to forcing a tiebreaker. But under a high-pressure scenario, down that 6-2, got to win 4 maps in a row just to get there. You would hate to think that Nomad 1 was Dadunai's best chance at winning the match. Still plenty of opportunities left, but maybe slowing the momentum down just a little bit, giving up their first break point of this match. We'll see how this goes. Do I hear iPhone?
You do.
Well, welcome back just in time for the map. And just in time for Dadunai to run the same roster yet again, as it is Ladofox, Z Numbers, David Crystal against Bashi, Sun10, Semi, and 315 here on the last free mod available.
Yeah. So far, those 4 players have been all Dadunai has needed to put up a good performance in this match, but this one isn't over yet. John Porler now have a chance to get some momentum back and give themselves a chance here on this free mod 1. 315 does find the first miss, but it is traded right back by David, and this map is going to take some time before we start to see some bigger misses, as we're going to have to wait till the next PI for those, as we do see quite a few accuracy drops, so everybody holding on to the combo for now.
315 to fall once more. Kind of the best case scenario for John Porler if anybody's going to break, because it's traded by Z Numbers, which is one of the remaining FCs. And yeah, this map just throws this at you a lot. That it's kick slider and slider aim with a lot of those bursts kind of at awkward changing spacing. And players having some trouble as Crystal the next go down leaves just Ladofox for Dadunai. Meanwhile, you still have Bashi and Sun10 holding down the fort for John Porler into one of these rare, slower sections, back right into it, though.
Yeah, 315 does find another miss, but ultimately it's not really going to matter at this point. As long as those full combos can hold, no other combos matter for John Porler, at least. For Dadunai, they need to hold on Lado. They're not able to. That's a really big miss. They need to build up some supporting combo as well. Right now, it's only Crystal, and this could be John Porler getting a 2nd point in a row. Down, but not out. This could be the start of a big comeback, but there's still 3/4 of the map, not 3/4 of the map to go. John Porler are in an incredibly good spot, at least to start out, but they're not out of the woods quite yet.
No, with this map being as long as it is, it's not over till it's over, especially with that big break there from Sun10. And Bashi follows up, so both the FCs fall immediately, and that was exactly what Dadunai would have been praying for. It is still a decent amount of combo on Semi and on 315, but that kind of does open the door back up just a little bit for Dadunai if they can continue, because they have recovery combos on Crystal, Z Numbers, and David to match and try to combat. It's an 10-11 million score lead, but the opportunity is now technically going to be available for Dadunai. It's still half of the map to go. You got a lot of time, a lot of score, a lot of combo.
Yeah, right now, Burn Castell doing a very good job of preventing that opportunity. 315 as well. Those are 2 big misses from Dadunai. Now, it all comes down to Crystal, but Suntan Boshi Man have recoveries themselves, those two trying to match Crystal, and then you've got the two big combos on top of that to work with. So John Porler are going to continue to extend this score lead, and that's a big miss from Crystal. John Porler still have half of the map to go, but they've put themselves in a very, very good spot, now up by 20 million, and this is the biggest score gap we've seen all match.
Yeah, this is the first map, the entire match, where really it felt like a team straight up were not competently able to perform on the pick. For whatever reason, Dadunai just cannot get it together on this map. That doesn't agree with them for one reason or another, hard to say. But it has been very good for John Porler. Yeah, they have a few breaks here sort of heading into the last quarter, but Dadunai have no combo to speak of, so it really doesn't matter at all. And this is going to be a quite one-sided final margin, it looks like. And that starts to be a little scary. You know, from 6-2, all of a sudden it's going to be a break point on a very close map into a really one-sided held point for John Porler. And that brings it, you know, this will bring it down to 6-4. They need to win one more break point, and they're going to have the momentum going into that pick to try to do it with.
Yeah, the momentum could be huge there. Dadunai potentially feeling the nerves a little bit, and are going to have to really consider their next pick, because if that one goes awry, we've seen how dominant John Porler have been on this pick of their own. The question is, can they find another pick like it? They did give up some break points earlier, looking a lot stronger now, but that can change on a dime. So these last two picks from either team are going to be instrumental here, but John Porler, they are on the verge of a massive comeback.
Yeah, this is a really, really sick score here from John Porler, man. You've got the 20+ million score on 3 of the 4 members, and not a single Dadunai player able to get 20 mil, and barely just coming up short of 99 AC on Suntan and 315. Just a dominating show on that pick, man. That's brutal. 23 million score gap. And this now sends it to the last pick for Dadunai. Terrifying. Giving up a break point, giving up a big win like that. Now you have to find something of your own to try to close it out, and there's not a whole lot left in this pool. It is, well, you know, there's 6 maps between the Nomad and Hard Rock pools, right? You've got Nomad's 2, 4, 7, Hard Rock's 1, 2, 4, and then DT's 2 and 6. As we've now exhausted the free mod pool, which is kind of interesting to see. All 4 free mods picked by John Porler. They gave up both of the break points on the free mod pool, but they also won 2 points in the free mod pool, so make of that what you'd like. Dadunai, oh boy. Maybe it's just a Nomad 2 or a DT2 angle. The last 2 tapping maps available to you. Nomad 2, you know, kind of that flow stamina. DT2, a lot more about the bursts, and, you know, kind of the longer, older style bursts. I don't know where else you go if it's not one of those. After the way the Nomad 1 went, it's terrifying to consider picking control aim, which would be, you know, kind of the Nomad 4, Nomad 7, Hard Rock 2, all along those lines.
Yeah, that DT pick is quite scary at 250 BPM. I think we've seen John Porler be the stronger team overall when it comes to those raw speed maps. And so if they do want to pick into tapping, I think Nomad 2 is a slightly better bet for them, but doesn't look like they do. They're going to pick the DT6 instead. Well, we're in for banger at least.
Yeah, I was kind of low-key thinking about this map as I was going through all those others. With them having picked the DT5 and won it with some really good scores, you know, kind of a fair amount of the difficulty of this map is in some flowy, alty tapping patterns in the choruses of the song. So I understand where this pick comes from for sure. You got to perform well on it, obviously, but I get it. And also, you know, banger, Red Hot Chili Peppers. This one takes us back to, oh geez, when did this come out? 1991, I think. It's one of the, this album is older than I am. But
yeah,
bangers from top to bottom on this album, by the way. For any music fans in the chat, go listen to this album because it rocks just all the way through, and this song is sick.
There you go. Don't go anywhere yet, though. You get the first taste of the album here live at Hippo Cup. And then, after the match is over, then you can go check out the album. But don't go anywhere yet, as John Porler, they're looking poised to make a comeback here. If they can win this map, they're going to be in a really good spot. We'll have the pick of their own, and we could just see it.
I sort of have this weird feeling like it starts to feel like we might be getting a tiebreaker. I have that kind of vague feeling. I don't know. John Porler, as strong as they are, and with the momentum in the match now, man, I don't know. I kind of feel like losing that Nomad 1 was, red flag worst case scenario for Dadunai to not close out the match a couple points ago. Gives John Porler a way back into it, but we'll see. Dadunai still has 2 chances. And hey, guess who? It's David, Z Numbers, Crystal, and Ladofox. Bashi, Amacetic, Taro, and Suntan in for John Porler as they will once more attempt to avoid the loss. Don't know if we're actually loading in or not. Nope. Okay. Bancho
Doesn't seem like it.
Bancho moment.
We'll go for attempt 2.
Oh, wait.
That is a score. I don't think it's a real score.
I don't know
what there is score on the screen.
Yeah, this might be. Yeah, it's just lobby things. I was talking about this in the previous match, but it's really kind of annoying how the worst day for Bancho connectivity of the week is also the day that a billion tournament matches are played. Like, it's always like 14 to 17 UTC Saturday and Sunday that Bancho has problems, and that's when every international 4v4 tournament match gets played.
Yeah, probably somewhat related. Punch maybe having a tough time handling all those tournament matches at the same time, but it does its best, I guess.
Well, let's try this again here. Let's see if we load in on the second time. And hey, look at that. We got 8 players. Let's see. Make sure we get through the break time here at the beginning. Come on, baby. I got faith. Yeah. All right. Osu. Blood Sugar, Sex Magic by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Dadunai's 3rd match point of a potential 4 in total that they would have before the tiebreaker eventuality that seems like it might just be happening soon.
Yeah, once again, this could be the end. Taro, Bashiman, Amacetic, and Suntan looking to draw this match out for a 3rd time in a row. Everyone looking strong so far. Accuracy is going to be pretty stable. It is an early miss from Amacetic, but shouldn't be too consequential as long as we see a decent recovery.
And there's plenty of time to build up. I mean, you really don't want to be missing in these verses, though, as Suntan just did. This is the easier portion of the map before we get into the chorus Ki time. And those flow patterns can get you, and there goes Crystal, first to fall for Dadunai.
Yeah, it's really just gonna even things out. I think pretty much combo is even with that miss, and so it's gonna come down to the next set of misses. Bashiman does find a big one. That's gonna be 400 combo down for John Porter, and so Dadunai are gonna start to build up this lead, and a really rough section to miss on because this is significantly easier. This is kind of a free combo section for Dadunai, and they just get to build this score lead. They are approaching the halfway point of the map, and a 3 million score lead going into the second half is going to feel pretty nice for them, but with big combos on Taro and Amacetic, they do still need to hold on to their combos. 3 million is by no means safe.
Not at all. And in the next guy we go. It's going to be an immediate break from David on one of those little flow patterns. Those quints, man, they can get you. And it's going to be Ladofox the next. Oh, this is getting dangerous for Dadunai. Amacetic will fall. So it's Taro versus Z Numbers on the FCs. Back in combo with both Bashi and Suntan against just Crystal. Combo advantage to John Porler. Still about a third of the map to go. The ending, the most difficult part, as it will be more consistently difficult. But oh man, this is going to be close coming into it.
Yeah, and if the combos stand as they are now, it is going to go back over to John Porler very slowly. However, don't expect that to stay the same as Lado finds the next miss. That's not one of the big combos on either team. Amacetic, that's a big one. They do still have big combos on all 3 other players, but They need every bit of combo they can muster. The score lead is going to flip back over any second now. A big miss from David. That'll flip the score. But we could see a miss in the end. That'll swing the score lead. This last stream is going to make the difference. Everybody holding so far. And can they get through this section? It's 4 misses, 2 on either team. John Porler are going to be pretty happy with that as they have their 2 big combos still holding strong. Bashi finds the miss, but have John Porler done enough? Taro needs to hold through the ending, and I think they've extended this 1 map longer.
Man. It was just the wrong misses on the wrong people at the wrong times for Dadunai far too often, and Taro dropping a huge score there to lead the way for John Porler. And all the momentum on their side. That is now 3 maps in a row. John Porler winning 2 break points and a pick of their own. And now we are down to the nitty-gritty. The last pick of the match will be on the side of John Porler. Down 6-5, but with the opportunity to force a tiebreaker 3 maps in a row. Can they make it 4? And what kind of map will they want to go into to try to do it? Again, it's those same maps that I've been mentioning. Nomads 2, 4, 7, Hard Rocks 1, 2, and 4, plus that DT2 that it feels like surprising to see nobody wanting to pick, but I think that both teams respect their opposition on it too much, perhaps.
Perhaps. And I mean, I think at this point, pretty much anything you pick is going to be a flip at best. You kind of just have to pick whatever you're most comfortable on, hope for the best. Meanwhile, for Dadunai, they do still have a chance to avoid going to tiebreaker, but it is out of their hands now, at least in terms of the map. All they can do is wait to see the message in chat that will decide the final map.
Man. I feel like I just don't know what you pick at this point. The way that this match has gone in the back half, I just have no idea. They're gonna go Hard Rock 1.
Okay.
I like barely remember what this map is, in all honesty. This Hard Rock pool has been just like, we had the Hard Rock 3 right at the very, very start of this, and other than that, Hard Rock has been untouched until now. I think this is more of that, like, just kind of Hard Rock awkward control aim, slightly smaller circles as well, 5.5. Who wants to go to practice mode with me?
Yeah, looks like the whole lobby is going to practice pretty much. Surely we're getting a 4-player roster switch up for Dadunai here.
Yeah, we're not just going to see the same 4 members once again or anything like that, surely.
No, they're joining back with new versions of themselves. They're now 0.5% better at Hard Rock 1.
Oh, right. Okay, so this is like the flowy tech. I remember now. Okay. It's got sliders and like flow tapping patterns and also some really challenging slider stream, slider burst stuff going on. So Bancho misses potentially in that regard. But this one's quite challenging, I feel. But I guess a lot of maps in this pool are quite challenging, so
yeah, that's
what else is
fair
new?
to say. Yeah, this one, you can definitely try and combo game. It's not very easy to build up a big combo. That also means it's a map with a lot of solo carry potential. If you somehow manage to hold on to your combo long enough and build up a big combo that need to be out, you can very, very much solo carry this one.
Well, let's see. Will it be a Crystal solo carry or a Z-Numbers or David Ladofox solo carry, or will it be Bashi, Amacetic, Suntan, and 315? Do we get the crazy comeback all the way into tiebreaker here, man? It's... Okay, that's MP timer. That's not MP start. At LM. From 6-2 down. John Porler now about 2.5 minutes away from forcing the tiebreaker. Pretty remarkable. Oh, now it's MP start. Okay, third try. Yeah! All right, we did it.
We made it. But the question remains, are we going to make it to tiebreaker?
I For the sake of the viewers and for us, I would like to say yes, but I think for the sake of Dadunai, I kind of want to say no, because the way the momentum in this match is going, I don't know that I like their odds if it goes to TB. It's just a real scary spot to be in if that happens, so I don't know. It's a lot of momentum on the side of John Porler, though. A couple early misses, only Suntan holding through this intro, and you can see this map is just difficult, man. It's flowy, it's bursty, it's sliders, it's just everything difficult that you could ask for in, kind of a consistency tech hard rock.
Yeah, we've got plenty more misses to come. We're going to see misses all over the place on both sides. It is really going to come down to whether, one player can build up a decent combo, and ultimately it's going to come down to these marginal combo advantages. Right now, though, it is Ledo, the only player able to get above that 300 mark. Aesthetic does reach that 300 now as well, but Dadunai getting off to the better start here, so a good chance to avoid tiebreaker on this one, but they still have 2/3 of the map to go, and into this slower section, they're only ahead by 1,000,000 points. On a map that is so easy to miss on, 1,000,000 points is nowhere near comfortable.
Nothing is going to be comfortable until the map comes all the way to an ending, but there's some big breaks from David and Z Numbers, whereas John Porler held all 4 combos through that little awkward square pattern. So they're going to bring this back over, I think. It's Ledofox and Crystal to just be forced to hold. They cannot afford breaks on those members. It's a big chain miss from Suntan, but you still have Bashi, Aesthetic, and 315. But there goes Suntan 315. Ledofox falls. All right, it's Bashi and Aesthetic against Crystal and the combined efforts of David and Z Numbers. This is terrifying. It's still only 1,000,000 points, and there goes David. Oh my god, this could go any which way. Aesthetic with the break. Oh, who's going to hold combo to the ending?
It is Crystal versus Bashi, trying to take us to tiebreaker, which the players can hold. Bashi drops a lot of accuracy, but does manage to hold on to the combo, but there is support for that. Never mind, there is no support. It is really just these two players battling it out, but Bashi has to make up 2,000,000
and he
points
can't!
And quickly running out of time. That's the miss.
No, it's not the miss.
And
it's a Bancho.
It's a Bancho. Still in it, but might be out of time.
I think he's out of time anyway. Even with that being a Bancho miss, this ending is a little bit slower with these bigger sliders, less combo, less score to be built up. And I think Crystal is going to do it for Dadunai. He holds the combo. That is a crazy second half of that map from Bashi and from Crystal, those massive 1K combos. But the score was there and the support was there to build the lead for Dadunai. And we're going to be denied the tiebreaker by the smallest of margins. For anybody rooting for that TB, 2.5 million score is going to have the final word, and it's going to say no. And it's going to be Dadunai. Back-to-back upsets in this bracket stage of the tournament over the number 4 and number 1 seeds overall to get into the semifinals. What a performance from a team that, yeah, we anticipated them to be at least pretty good, but the number 21 seed is now in the semifinals.
Yeah, and their next opponent is going to be either the 2 or the 6 seed. So we'll see if they can continue the chain of upsets, but what a performance from Crystal in the end. They nearly let that one slip away from them, but such a good performance when it mattered most. That is what you love to see. And John Porler, as you mentioned, down to the losers bracket. We've got a pretty wild losers bracket.
Yeah, so this is going to be John Porler dropping down. They'll await the winner of either Carlos and 8 versus S. Istvorbe. And so I think that one is actually this afternoon. That match will be taking place, so they'll know their opponent relatively soon. Man, Dadunai versus either Grease Monkey or Oninivietsa. Those kind of feel winnable for them after beating John Porler. I mean, anything is on the table now if you're playing at this level. We got some good stuff setting itself up already, man. Like I said, this tournament gets good in a hurry with only 16 teams into the bracket stage. Like, you're going to see good performances from good rosters fast. And man, oh man, we've been treated to a ridiculous match just now, and hopefully only more to come. It is going to be 17 UTC today for the next match, so that's in about half an hour. That's going to be the Korean team, the Irishman 4, against Meowing Simulator, which is a team that just kind of snuck in right? Went 2-1 in groups with a tiebreaker win among them to make it into the bracket stage, but did win last week in their first round over Team Mongolia by a 6-4 score, matching the Irishmen winning 6-4 over Kali Backshots. And now those two teams face each other. That's going to be a good one. You don't want to miss that in half an hour. That is one to see for sure.
It certainly is. Well, I think that'll do it for us for the time being. Of course, we'll be back in 30 minutes with that absolute banger. Thank you, as always, to T1G for the commentary and the stream. I've been iFlame, and last but not least, thank you guys all for watching. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back soon.